So, what's the real difference between just a group of people who work together and a truly great team? Well, it's not just about talent. It really comes down to mindset. In this explainer, we're going to break down that crucial shift from being just an employee to becoming an absolutely indispensable team player. Understanding this can completely change how you work and honestly how your entire career progresses. So let's start with a really simple question for you. At work, do you see yourself as an employee or a team member? Now, I know it might sound like we're just splitting hairs here, but the difference is huge. Your answer actually reveals a lot about your mindset. And that mindset, well, it shapes your impact, your relationships, and ultimately your success. Okay, so here's the core difference. An employee mindset, it often focuses on working for a company. It's kind of transactional, right? Centered on individual tasks. The key word is me. But a team member works with the company, and they align their own efforts with shared goals. It's all about collaboration, centered on collective success. The key word there? We. That tiny shift from I to we is the absolute foundation of great teamwork. To build on that whole we mentality, I want you to think of your team as a cast of characters in a play. Everyone plays a role, and research actually shows these roles can either launch a team forward or, actively drag it down. So let's start by looking at the roles that really create success. Every single successful team has a mix of these positive players. You've got to have the initiator coordinator, the person who sparks new ideas and just gets things moving. Then you've got the elaborator, who can take a rough concept and flesh it out with all the details. And you know what? You even have the comic relief, who plays such a vital role in easing tension and keeping morale high. See, the best teams aren't full of the same type of person. They have a really healthy balance of all these constructive roles. But of course, there's the other side of the coin, the negative roles. And we've all been there. We've all met the dominator who hijacks every single meeting, or the blocker who just shoots down every new idea. But maybe the most damaging one of all is the slacker. The person who contributes almost nothing, forcing everyone else to pick up their weight. This role, it doesn't just slow things down. It totally destroys morale and erodes trust. So, since the slacker is one of the biggest sources of frustration on a team, let's really focus on how to handle it. It's a tricky situation for sure, but just ignoring it is rarely the best option, especially when it starts to mess with your own work. This quote right here, it just nails the key issue. Dealing with a colleague's poor performance isn't about being the behavior police. It's really about self-preservation and protecting the team. When their lack of effort starts to put your work and the team's success in jeopardy, speaking up isn't just an option. It becomes necessary. So how do you handle this like a pro? Well, here's a proven 6-step process. First up, empathize. Seriously, try to understand what's going on. It might not be simple laziness. Second, converse. You want to approach them with curiosity, not with accusations. Third, use facts. Explain the specific impact their actions are having on your work. Fourth, be flexible in finding a solution together. Fifth, try again if that first conversation doesn't stick. And only as a final step, sixth, escalate to a supervisor with specific examples, but only after you've made a real, genuine effort to sort it out directly. Let's boil it down to some simple rules of engagement. Do approach the conversation with an open mind, and always talk to your colleague directly first. Don't jump to conclusions, don't make accusations, and please don't immediately run to your boss. You have to remember, the goal here is to solve the problem together, not to start a workplace war. Okay, we've talked a lot about dealing with others, but you know what? The most powerful thing you can do is focus on yourself. So let's shift gears a bit and look at how you can become the kind of team player that everyone wants to work with. These 5 traits right here, they're the building blocks of a great team player. Accountability, that's owning your work. And yeah, that includes your mistakes. Flexibility, adapting when things inevitably change. Positivity, lifting the team's energy instead of draining it. Commitment, being all in on the team's goals. And integrity, doing the right thing even when no one's watching. These aren't just fluffy, nice-to-have things. Skills like these are exactly what the best employers are searching for. So how do you actually put this into practice? Well, it all starts with good communication. From there, you can take initiative. Don't just wait to be told what to do. Share your knowledge and resources to help everyone else grow. And just understand your piece of the puzzle and deliver on it reliably. These aren't huge, grand gestures. They're the small, consistent actions that build incredible trust over time. All right, finally, let's zoom all the way out. Beyond our own individual actions, how can we proactively build a stronger, more connected team culture from the ground up? And listen, it doesn't have to be complicated. Here's a super simple but really powerful tool any team can use: Team Profiles. It's basically a shared document or a slide deck where each person gets one page to introduce themselves. This thing becomes like a cheat sheet for connection. It makes it so much easier for new people to get up to speed and for everyone to get to know their colleagues beyond just their job titles. And here's what you can include. The basic work info like role and time zone, that's essential, especially for remote teams. But the real magic happens in the personal section. Hobbies, favorite books, subjects they just love talking about. This gives everyone a super easy way to start a non-work conversation and build some genuine rapport. So, when you get right down to it, it all comes down to a choice. We've looked at the different roles that exist on a team, from the really constructive to the destructive. We've explored how to handle challenges and how to become a more valuable collaborator yourself. So the real question isn't what role you might have played in the past, but the one you will choose to play tomorrow.